February 13, 2026, Buckingham Palace. The world watches as the monarchy breaks its silence. After years of private turmoil, the Crown issues an unprecedented emergency statement in response to Meghan Markle's escalating public campaign. Over 10 days, from February 2 to February 12, 2026, Meghan has seen her carefully cultivated global brand unravel in real time. Her accusations against the royal family, veiled threats, and references to undisclosed private files have triggered an international ripple effect, sending shockwaves through governments, media, and luxury industries alike. Sources close to Buckingham describe her behavior as a deliberate attempt to manipulate public perception and coerce the crown. The palace's response is not only swift but decisively public, a direct rebuttal of Meghan's claims, combined with the release of incontrovertible evidence proving the impossibility of her allegations, particularly the so-called Balearic 2016 yacht incident allegedly involving Prince William. Before we begin today's royal update, I want to take a quick moment. Many of you watch these videos but haven't subscribed yet, and you don't want to miss the latest developments and fascinating stories from the world of royalty. Subscribing is completely free and keeps you up to date as everything unfolds. And while you're here, let us know, where are you watching from? Share it in the comments. It's wonderful to see viewers joining us from around the world. The first signs of fallout began on February 3, when the United Arab Emirates Ministry of Culture and Economy revoked all licensing agreements linked to Meghan's wellness and fashion brand. As ever, the official reasoning cited misrepresentation of national affiliation, violations of GCC regulations on political neutrality, and unregistered offshore revenue channels. Canada followed on February 6, as the Canada Revenue Agency and British Columbia Film Board suspended cooperation with Archwell Media Canada, pointing to incomplete filings, undisclosed foreign compensation, and intellectual property discrepancies. Netflix Canada, CBC, and Rogers Media canceled ongoing collaborations. France acted on February 8, with the Haute Autorité de l'Audiovisuel confirming that Vogue France would not proceed with an April 2026 cover featuring Meghan. LVMH, Chanel, and Hermes quietly withdrew exploratory partnerships, while retailers in Singapore and Japan, including Takashima Tokyo and Tang Singapore, removed all as-ever products from flagship stores. Industry watchdogs flagged her releases for deceptive marketing, pointing to blurred lines between personal branding, royal symbolism, and commercial monetization. In the midst of this chaos, Meghan's chief communications advisor, Rena Walsh, released a 2-minute video statement on February 10. In it, Meghan framed herself as a victim of coordinated suppression, stating, "This is not about paperwork or permits. This is about power. A coordinated effort is underway from London to Dubai to Ottawa to erase me professionally, culturally, and personally, and we know exactly who's behind it." The statement, accompanied by a fact sheet of canceled deals and rejected licensing filings, culminated with a chilling reference to Balearic 2016, implying possession of compromising photos of Prince William. Within hours, Kensington Palace began its own rapid response, confirming Prince William's presence in Kenya during the alleged incident, backed by flight logs, hotel records, UN schedules, press photos, and verification from the Kenyan Ministry of the Environment. The palace's strategy was twofold: legally neutralize Meghan's claims and protect institutional dignity. Sir Malcolm Wessex, the royal family's chief counsel, convened a high-level legal summit at Clarence House, joined by representatives from the Crown Prosecution Service, GCHQ cyber analysts, and the Foreign Office. A pre-litigation notice was issued demanding disclosure of the alleged 2016 materials, along with metadata, by February 14. Failure to comply would result in defamation action in the UK and Canadian courts. At the same time, Prince James of Edinburgh, acting as the palace's public firewall, oversaw the release of verified travel itineraries and internal audit memos, demonstrating zero Crown involvement in international commercial decisions affecting Meghan. By February 13, the palace's official statement declared, "The Crown categorically denies all allegations of interference in international commercial or cultural decisions regarding Miss Meghan Markle." Furthermore, We reject the false and defamatory insinuations of any past misconduct by His Royal Highness, the Prince of Wales. Fabricated threats, reputational extortion, and the strategic manipulation of personal grievances cannot and will not be tolerated. Accompanying affidavits and timelines provided irrefutable proof of the impossibility of the Balearic claim. Global brands, governments, and industry leaders swiftly aligned, not in collusion, but in risk aversion. From Dubai to Paris to Vancouver, networks once loyal to Meghan withdrew, citing reputational unpredictability, legal risk, and the blurred boundary between celebrity and royalty. By this stage, the shift was unmistakable. Netflix canceled planned docuseries, Vogue France scrapped shoots, and Sephora removed products in multiple countries. Charities, including World Central Kitchen and SmartWorks UK, quietly severed ties. Social media analytics showed engagement with Meghan's February 10 post dropped 42% compared to prior announcements. Even former allies and celebrity advocates remained silent. What began as whispers of regulatory tension had escalated into a near-total blackout across entertainment, commerce, fashion, wellness, and philanthropy. Meghan's influence had shrunk under the weight of international scrutiny, legal precision, and institutional clarity. The palace, through strategic transparency and legal fortitude, had taken the offensive. In the process, they set the stage for the next phase, confronting Meghan's threats directly and containing potential reputational damage. As February 13, 2026, dawned over London, Buckingham Palace escalated its response from clarification to proactive containment. Prince James of Edinburgh, acting as the palace firewall after Prince Harry's departure, coordinated a comprehensive strategy to neutralize Meghan Markle's threats. Legal, digital, and media operations moved in tandem. The first priority was the pre-litigation notice already dispatched on February 11 by Sir Malcolm Wessex, Chief Royal Counsel. It demanded disclosure of all purported archival materials, metadata, and supporting communications referenced in Meghan's Balearic 2016 allusions. The deadline of February 14 was explicit. Failure to comply would trigger simultaneous defamation lawsuits in the United Kingdom and Canada. Canadian jurisdiction was included deliberately, as Archwell-affiliated Canadian entities under CRA audit were central to ongoing commercial disputes. By framing the matter as a cross-border legal obligation, the palace ensured Meghan could no longer use selective national loopholes to leverage threats without consequence. Simultaneously, a highly classified digital operation, the Digital Contingency Group, DCG, initiated comprehensive monitoring. Formed in early 2024, DCG comprises former MI5 and GCHQ cyber analysts, Royal Archives security officers, and legal technologists. Their task: identify potential leaks from Meghan's inner circle, analyze suspicious communications, and verify the authenticity of any digital or physical materials that could harm the crown. Intelligence gathered included categorization of her private archives, inadmissible personal hearsay, altered or unverifiable images, and recordings in potential violation of GDPR and U.S. wiretap laws. The palace's assessment concluded that, even if disseminated, much of her material lacked legal standing. Distribution for coercive purposes, however, would constitute criminal misconduct under cross-border digital coercion statutes, further raising the stakes for Meghan's campaign. Public relations measures ran in parallel. Prince James personally supervised briefings with selected senior royal correspondents at Lancaster House, providing validated travel logs, UN summit attendance confirmations, and internal audit memos proving zero crown interference in foreign licensing or cultural decisions. The palace emphasized transparency while retaining legal discretion, making the line between truth and rumor unmistakable. Media outlets from the Times to Vanity Fair began updating editorial positions. People magazine canceled a Valentine's Day feature. Vogue France confirmed cancellation of her April cover. Netflix Canada officially shelved wellness docuseries. International luxury brands, including Chanel, Hermes, and LVMH, quietly terminated exploratory agreements, while retailers in Singapore, Japan, and Dubai removed as ever products. Former allies in the entertainment and fashion industries, wary of reputational exposure, began distancing themselves publicly and privately. Social media analysis indicated a 42% drop in engagement on Meghan's February 10 statement compared to her 2024 RTUL anniversary post. Influencers who had once amplified her voice remained silent, creating a vacuum where narrative control shifted entirely to the palace. Legally, Sir Malcolm Wessex's team prepared multi-jurisdictional filings to defend the monarchy preemptively. Clifford Chance LLP, acting under palace authority, readied claims for libel, false attribution, and potential commercial sabotage across the United Kingdom, Canada, and the European Union. Any distribution of unverified Balearic materials could now trigger immediate injunctions, fines, and potential criminal liability. Meanwhile, DCG conducted risk assessments of Meghan's potential Substack memoir, tentatively titled Unseen and Unbowed, analyzing projected leaks, ghostwriting collaborators, and jurisdictional exposure. A coordinated advisory team concluded that public airing of allegedly sensitive royal material could expose her to cross-border defamation, digital coercion, and intellectual property claims. The palace's approach blended deterrence with containment. By demonstrating legal readiness, digital surveillance, and public transparency, Buckingham Palace effectively removed leverage from Meghan's hands. Industry and government allies, having witnessed the meticulous evidence and timelines provided, were emboldened to sever ties without fear of political or legal backlash. Charities such as World Central Kitchen and SmartWorks UK publicly acknowledged past collaborations, but confirmed no future engagement. Sephora, Blue Ivy Ventures, Pinterest, and Etsy confirmed removal or blocking of all as ever products and associated promotions. Even within Hollywood, WME representation and Netflix production pulled back entirely, leaving Meghan's influence in entertainment and philanthropy diminished almost overnight. By February 14, 2026, the reverberations of Meghan Markle's accusations had reached every corner of the media landscape. News outlets worldwide scrambled to cover the palace's unprecedented response, framing the narrative in terms of legality, diplomacy, and institutional integrity. The BBC and Sky News ran in-depth analyses of Prince William's 2016 travel itinerary, confirming his simultaneous attendance at the UN summit in Nairobi, leaving no room for speculation about the alleged Balearic yacht incident. In the United States, CNN, The New York Times, and The Washington Post published detailed timelines of Archwell Media Canada's regulatory challenges, emphasizing that the suspensions were administrative, not punitive. The global story shifted from Meghan's narrative of victimhood to questions about her credibility and professional conduct. Social media amplified the disconnect between perception and reality. Platforms like Instagram, Twitter, now X, TikTok, and Threads registered a dramatic drop in engagement on posts related to her February 10 statement. Influencer track analytics showed that celebrity endorsements of Meghan had fallen by more than 50% compared to her 2024 RTUL anniversary campaign. Former allies, including Priyanka Chopra Jonas, Serena Williams, and Chrissy Teigen, remained conspicuously silent. Some issued neutral statements about ongoing philanthropy work but made no reference to Meghan personally. Audience sentiment turned sharply negative, with hashtags like Balearic Files and Archwell Audit trending alongside Royal Transparency and House of Windsor. Public opinion, once sympathetic, now questioned her motives and professional judgment. Hollywood, fashion, and publishing sectors reacted swiftly. Netflix Canada officially canceled the wellness docuseries associated with Archwell Media, citing unresolved licensing conflicts. Harpo Studios removed all Archwell-affiliated content from its 2026 schedule, and WME terminated representation of Meghan, citing reputational volatility. 3 global publishers declined to pursue her memoir, Unseen and Unbowed, after receiving confidential briefings about potential legal and regulatory liabilities. Luxury brands, including Chanel, Hermes, and LVMH, quietly severed exploratory partnerships, while retailers such as Tang Singapore, Eiston Tokyo, and Sephora removed as ever products from shelves and digital platforms. Digital marketplaces like Etsy and Pinterest blocked promotional content featuring her brand, Even philanthropic organizations, including SmartWorks UK and World Central Kitchen, issued public statements clarifying that no current or future collaborations were planned. The isolation extended to private circles. Meghan's inner media and PR teams were reportedly fracturing under legal pressure and reputational risk. Former staffers who had previously assisted in archiving private material now faced scrutiny from Canadian, European, and UK regulators. 2 former Archwell board members agreed to provide testimony during ongoing EU and UAE compliance reviews, potentially creating a multi-jurisdictional legal challenge. Allies in Los Angeles and New York, once protective of her public image, began distancing themselves quietly, fearing involvement in potential cross-border litigation or regulatory inquiries. The palace's proactive legal and public strategy had effectively created a domino effect. Every industry, ally, and media outlet reassessing the risk of association with her brand. Royal experts and commentators highlighted the unprecedented scale of this reaction. Analysts noted that while past controversies involving senior royals often led to controlled media cycles, this coordinated withdrawal of support and commercial distancing was extraordinary. It was not the legal action alone that created the impact, but the combination of verified evidence, digital surveillance, media engagement, and global regulatory attention. The palace's approach had transformed Meghan's threat into a liability that now undermined her credibility and influence. Royal correspondents noted that the shift was not punitive but protective. Institutions, brands, and allies recognized the potential damage in associating with unverified claims involving senior royals. The social ramifications were equally significant. Online communities once supportive of Meghan were now divided between skepticism and cautious disengagement. Celebrity and public discourse reflected a growing perception that her narrative had overstepped professional and ethical boundaries. Former publicists commented that the Balearic 2016 reference, paired with veiled threats of archival exposure, had fundamentally altered risk calculations for potential collaborators. Legal and corporate counsel alike interpreted her public messaging as a deliberate escalation, increasing exposure for anyone affiliated with her. Analysts described the resulting silence from former allies and media figures as strategic, not personal, a defensive mechanism against reputational contagion. By mid-February, Meghan Markle's global position had shifted dramatically. She remained a prominent public figure, but her influence over media narratives, corporate partnerships, and philanthropic ventures had been sharply curtailed. In less than 10 days, regulatory audits, international commercial suspensions, and public legal notices, combined with rapid social and media realignments, had created a near-total isolation. Allies, brands, and media platforms were either disengaging or insisting on strict liability disclaimers. Industry observers described this as an unparalleled example of institutional resilience, a monarchy leveraging transparency, legal authority, and public communication to neutralize potential reputational harm while maintaining control over the narrative. By February 15, 2026, the global fallout from Meghan Markle's February 10 statement had reached a decisive inflection point. The palace, having executed its dual-pronged legal and public relations strategy, had effectively neutralized her Balearic 2016 narrative before it could gain traction. International regulatory bodies, brands, media outlets, and philanthropic organizations had collectively distanced themselves, creating an unprecedented environment of professional and social isolation. Whereas prior Sussex controversies had relied on ambiguity and rumor, the combination of verified documentation, proactive media dissemination, and legal preemptive measures now established a durable counter-narrative, one in which the palace was the arbiter of factual accuracy. Meghan Markle's attempted escalation had inadvertently accelerated her loss of influence. Archwell Media Canada remained under audit by the CRA, as ever products were withdrawn across Singapore, Japan, and the UAE, and luxury brand negotiations were officially frozen. Her pending memoir, Unseen and Unbowed, had been rejected by 3 international publishers after legal consultation with the palace's notice. Global PR firms refused to onboard her without indemnity agreements, effectively stalling any large-scale media or advocacy projects. Former allies, including Priyanka Chopra Jonas, Serena Williams, Chrissy Teigen, and Tyler Perry, were silent or issuing neutral clarifications on past collaborations without nomming her. Social media engagement metrics confirmed the decline, with her February 10 post registering over 40% lower engagement than prior statements. The public perception of her as a disruptor or victim had shifted toward professional miscalculation and reputational risk. Prince Harry, quietly observing from Los Angeles, maintained strategic silence. According to insiders, he requested confidential consultations with King Charles and Prince Edward regarding constitutional and custodial implications arising from the controversy. His absence from RTUL Canada meetings, non-endorsement of Meghan's statements, and refusal to repost her February 10 video signaled a potential schism within the Sussex household. While previously united, the couple's public alignment had fractured, leaving Meghan to navigate mounting legal and commercial pressures largely independently. Sources indicate that Harry's advisors emphasized discretion, focusing on damage control rather than public confrontation, preserving his own standing within both the monarchy and transatlantic philanthropic networks. Internally, Buckingham Palace leveraged the episode to reinforce institutional control and establish long-term safeguards. Princess Anne was tasked with oversight of institutional integrity across charities, Commonwealth engagements, and media partnerships, while Prince Edward coordinated with the Cabinet Office on communications regarding legacy claims from former royal affiliates. Prince William assumed full public authority to represent monarchy renewal and address both reputational and legal matters. The palace's Windsor Boundary Doctrine, introduced in the February 13 statement, codified mandatory review of Sussex-adjacent content, automatic legal referral of unverified allegations implicating royal members, and monitoring of potential foreign exploitation of narratives. These measures signaled a permanent shift. Any perceived manipulation of royal identity for personal or commercial gain would now be met with immediate institutional scrutiny. The long-term consequences for Meghan Markle's professional landscape were severe. She faced multi-jurisdictional legal exposure spanning the UK, Canada, and the EU, combined with international commercial suspensions and diminished media access. Archwell's operational reach was curtailed, while potential publication and broadcast projects were stalled or terminated. Former board members, cooperating with regulatory authorities, increased the likelihood of detailed scrutiny into both Archwell and as-ever operations. In essence, the palace's proactive measures transformed potential reputational threats into enforceable legal and administrative realities. Meanwhile, brands, media organizations, and philanthropic institutions recalibrated risk strategies globally, reducing the likelihood of future affiliation with her persona or enterprises. The monarchy, having absorbed the shock of the attempted escalation, emerged with reinforced authority. By demonstrating legal precision, transparency, and proactive narrative control, the royal household neutralized a high-profile threat without resorting to sensational trials or public confrontation. Media observers noted that the palace's approach combined deterrence with evidence-based rebuttal, effectively disarming attempts at blackmail or reputational manipulation. The Windsor firewall, as analysts described it, had transformed reactive crisis management into a durable, institutionalized safeguard. Public messaging emphasized dignity, transparency, and constitutional integrity, restoring confidence among domestic and international observers alike. By mid-February 2026, the Sussex saga reached a quiet but definitive conclusion. Meghan Markle's attempts at public pressure and veiled threats were met with coordinated institutional, legal, and reputational countermeasures. Prince Harry maintained his discretion, allies retreated, and global partners disengaged. The monarchy asserted its authority through evidence, law, and strategic communication. The final chapter did not involve dramatic confrontation, but rather the meticulous application of institutional resilience. The palace had made clear, while members may leave the family, they cannot weaponize its legacy or public trust. Meghan Markle faced a stark reality: isolation by attrition, legal oversight, and the irrevocable disengagement of allies, brands, and media. In closing, the February 2026 events exemplify the intersection of law, media, and monarchy in the 21st century. The palace's response demonstrates that authority is maintained not through silence alone, but through proactive verification, strategic legal action, and coordinated public messaging. Meghan Markle's narrative, once a source of global attention, now serves as a case study in institutional fortitude. The House of Windsor reaffirmed its boundaries, ensured continuity of legacy, and communicated unequivocally that sovereignty, transparency, and the rule of law remain non-negotiable. As the dust settled, Buckingham Palace stood unified, unbothered, and resolute, a quiet, chilling reminder that in matters of monarchy and legacy, strategic precision outlasts public theatrics.